Mark Rogers TV getting us set for Pac-12 play. We bring in Kaylin Jones for House of Sparky to set us up for Arizona State. Kaylin, it's been a while. How you been?
I've been good, Mark. Good to see you.
Yeah, definitely. We've got football on our hands. Finally, it's such a long off season. Looking at this Arizona State offense as we kind of set the table for 2016 after a disappointing 15 season that you can finally put in the books and forget. Chip Lindsey comes in to head up the offense in place of Mike Norvell. He's got a reputation very much as a teacher. What do you see different in what the offense could show us this year?
Well, schematically, it's going to be more of the same. When you're talking about the offensive system, a lot of the RPO stuff, zone read stuff, including you're going to see more inclusion of both Balaj and Richard on the field at the same time going into this year. And that's something that, Mike Norvell didn't really utilize that much last year. Mario Richard is one of the better receiving backs in the Pac-12. And when you combine that, you put that on the field as a threat, and you combine it with Kalen Balaj's ability, with them both on the field, even whether or not one or the others in the backfield or the other plays in the slot, I think it's going to pose big problems for defenses, especially lining up and trying to cater and keep up with this kind of high-tempo offense. As far as the passing game is concerned, Chip Lindsey, like you mentioned, he's a teacher. When you talk about what Southern missed last year and what he was able to do with two guys in Jalen Richard, and then even Nick Mullins at quarterback, turning him into a 4,000-yard school program record-setting quarterback, I think you're going to see a lot of similarities as far as progression with Manny Wilkins, and even should Brady White come on during the middle of the season, you'll see that kind of similar progression with him.
Hey, Kaylin, a lot of people watching us check out Arizona State for the big games. Who should we be looking out for on both sides of the ball that could stand out this year?
Well, aside from, the two running backs, obviously, with Mario Richard and Kalen Balaj, offensively, N'Keal Harry, true freshman, was highest-rated receiver in the state, one of the highest-rated receivers overall in this previous recruiting class. He's already emerged as a starter, kind of as that big-body type receiver, similar to Jalen Strong, and I think he's someone to watch out for. Defensively, I think if you're going to go with the non-star guys, I think Karan Crump, who's a junior transfer, he's slotted into that double position, sort of that pass rusher type role. JoJo Wicker, all-conference defensive end, was seeing time there, but he's kind of slotted back into his defensive end role. We'll see a lot of Karan Crump the quarterback this year, which is exactly what they need, especially with the loss of guys like Antonio Longino in the draft last year, and then Ismail Murphy-Richardson, who was removed from the team. He would have been able to start there, but I think they've got a good consolation prize when you're talking about Karan Crump. I think he's going to be really exciting to watch this year.
It's such a balanced division. You obviously have to be on top of your game to compete for a South Division championship. Looking at both sides of the ball again, what concerns you? What units really have their question marks?
Well, offensively, it's definitely quarterback. And, it's not to say that neither guy is capable. It's just we don't know who's going to start. I think when you look at what Manny Wilkins brings to the table, it's similar to what Taylor Kelly did a few years ago. It's kind of that accurate, heady quarterback who has the mobility to make out and stretch plays. With Brady White, you're seeing more so of a better passer, and I think that may prove to allow him to emerge as a starter later on in the season should Wilkins struggle at all. But there's sort of an uncertainty there because the two of them, they present different skill sets, even though they're kind of similar at the same time. As far as schematics, I think, they're more – Chip Lindsey looks more comfortable stretching the field with Brady White. At practice, you see a lot of more vertical play calling with Brady White under center, but with Manny Wilkins, it's more so you'll see more RPO stuff, more short passing and more horizontal stuff where you're getting the ball at the perimeter or allowing him to utilize his athleticism early on. So I think that's the biggest question mark. Offensive line, obviously you're losing 4 starters and you only get 1 returning starter at left tackle, and Evan Goodman, which luckily he is at left tackle. But you have some seasoned vets, guys like Stephen McCray, Quinn Bailey, and Sam Jones, who all have game experience. I think the offensive line will be okay.
All right, Mark Rogers TV, I don't know if you've gotten the news there, Kaylin, that we rate Arizona State with the 12th most difficult schedule in the country. So out of the Power Fives, the 64 plus the 3 major independents, 67 schools, the 12th most difficult schedule in the country. So that speaks mostly to the Pac-12. If you look at the schedule, what I love about the balance of the Pac-12 is just there really aren't any bad teams, maybe 1 or 2. And secondly, that just about everybody plays everyone. So you get 11 opponents, you play 9. So you miss Oregon State. So that's pretty much a gimme win that you don't get this year. But you also miss Stanford out of the North. You've got the date against Texas Tech coming up in week 2. What stands out in regards to the schedule?
I think you pointed out Texas Tech. A lot of people are nervous about that game because, you know, there's an expectation to win the game this year. Last year against A&M, they sort of fumbled it away. Not. I guess you can't say literally. They did fumble it away at one point in the game. But this year with Texas Tech, I think there's that sort of redemption because a few years ago they did get sort of creamed by Texas Tech in their bowl game, I believe at the Holiday Bowl. So I think Todd Graham is going to be excited to kind of get that chance to kind of redeem himself. And, you know, there's a different look with Texas A&M. Excuse me, not Texas A&M. So there you go. Texas Tech going into this year. But they definitely have a standout quarterback when you're talking about Pat Mahomes, but they lost a lot of their playmakers. I think DeAndre Washington would have been a huge factor in this matchup. But I think ASU is going to be able to come after them. Apologize for rambling. But the other matchup, the biggest matchup I think on the schedule is that October 1st date at USC this year. You know, a couple of years ago when we had the Hail Mary game, you could sense how much of a turnaround that was and, you know, how big of a momentum booster it was. But just looking at it from a schedule perspective, ASU has a chance, should they beat Texas Tech, they should kind of start out 4-0, and then they'll play USC. And before that, it opens – if they're able to win that game and start the season off 5-0, it sets them up ahead of a kind of tough road when you're looking at the Pac-12 schedule. I believe 5 of the remaining games are going to be on the road against, like you said, a pretty tough conference. They get UCLA at home and Washington State at home. But then you're playing teams like Oregon, you're playing Washington, Arizona, which, you know, you never know what to expect and what you'll get. So I think it's pretty imperative that they get a win at USC because it could be the turning point in the season for them, and it gives them room for error going down the road.
Kalen, never apologize for rambling. You're our information source. So people, this guy just came from practice. He also was at Todd Graham's presser this afternoon, so he's right there with the team and covering it day to day. So he knows his stuff. Kalen, we appreciate the time, and good luck with the Sun Devils this year.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.